I just sense in the spirit, when these rivers are cleansed, the river is going to go everywhere, every marshy ground, every conflict area, even in the Niger Delta. Watch the Niger Delta, because there's going to be a lot of violence that's going to come to an end. The people are on the internal who have been used by others to instigate terror and fear. It's not really coming out from Niger, from the Delta itself. It's coming out from higher places than the Delta itself. Those who have vested interests have sown discord, fear, frustration in that region. They're creating all kinds of confusion in the region, and God's going to cut off the power lines. And these people said, we don't know why we are behaving this way. We don't know why we are fighting. We don't understand what we are doing. What has been pushing us for so long in creating conflict is no longer there, because God is going to bring about a very powerful pulling together. The years of conflict, the years of struggle is going to come to an end. You believe that? I can see that's going to happen, because the dimensions of the Spirit are beginning to break out. You know, you should thank God for you being participating in this summit, because you're actually involved in the rebuilding, the redesigning, the repatterning of this entire nation of Nigeria. Something very powerful is beginning to happen. I see even northern forces that have come into this nation trying to buy their way in and begin to create all kinds of fear, to create conflicts, so that their ongoing desire to keep this nation divided, so that the nation can always be divided, the resources can always be spoiled in the midst of conflict, to siphon out resources. Those kind of dimensions of powers of darkness have been already cut off. The power lines of the north has been cut off. The power lines of corruption has been cut off. You're going to see that they're going to drive from the roots upwards all the way. It's because God has cut it out. You're going to find kingpins who have been involved in these areas in the past. They're just going to walk out of the territory. They're going to go into hiding, because their power is no longer working on the ground. Their sorcery is no longer working on the ground. Their contamination is no longer working on the ground, because there is a river that is coming from heaven that is going to flow into this region in a powerful way. That river is coming from above. It's going to push out the rivers that have taken over, the contamination that has taken over, all those negative things are going to, the river is going to be clean. The air is going to be clean. For the first time, you're going to see it through Nigerian with a new spirit, a new nature, with a new face. A face of peace, not a face of violence, and not a face for survival, but a face of peace, a face of peace and contentment upon their faces. And I believe this is going to be the year where this redefining is going to take place. So you must get ready, because God is making a covenant with us, and this covenant is going to be the covenant of the Word. He's giving us the covenant of the Spirit, so that will allow us to redefine everything that is going to take place in the days ahead. Do you believe that? Therefore, do not allow yourself to become leaking vessels, not containing what God is giving to you in this hour. When you return from this place, that you will go into seasons of prayer and fasting, not so that you can cry out to God for Him to speak, but for you to cry out to Him, so that you can take the Word of God and begin to build it into your heart. It is not a time to go out with this message. It's a time to take the message, to bring it into your life, because that is going to be the reason why you are going to be redefined. The things that are holding you will be cut off. The things that have been oppressing you will be cut off, so that the Word of God can lay hold of you. Because He doesn't want, for many years in seasons in past, men have been speaking, but they have never modeled. God do not want you to be like the generations that have gone without a message. He don't want you to run too quickly without a message. He wants you to stay and begin to allow the message and the messenger to become one, so that you are riding furiously, but you know exactly the message, and you know the reason for why you are contending for. You will know the reason why you're pushing for, so that you know exactly what is laying hold of your heart. And this is going to become the portion. The seasons of prayer and fasting is going to come upon all of Nigeria, including the non-Christians are going to feel inside their own heart of coming aside. Even the non-believers are going to feel there is a time of really crying out to God. There's going to be a passion of a cry, like a spirit of prayer that's going to rise in this nation. That people are going to voice their anguish. They're going to voice their desire, their longing everywhere, in the parliament, in the streets, everywhere. Little children begin to feel disgusted, crying out, like the spirit of Hannah laying hold of them. And yet there will be those cynical people who will look at this and say, what can you do with a cry? Yes, we're going to see a cry rising up from here that is going to rise up before the eyes of God and the ears of God, that God will hearken. The prophets of Eli, the prophets like Eli, they will never be able to understand that. There will be politicians who will be mocking what we are doing, but the cry is going to reach the heavens, because this cry is a cry of the ground, the cry of the Mother Earth, the cry of the people who dwell on the earth. The cry of the land is crying out to God, because it is in this land innocent blood has been shed. Innocent blood from this ground is crying. And God is going to hear the cry of innocent blood that is crying out from this ground. And that voice is going to begin to cry out for vindication, crying out for judgment, crying out for justice, crying out for righteousness. And all of a sudden the cry, not only the cry of the people, but the ground is crying, my friends. So the voice of man and the voice of the ground is going to cry out, and God is going to act. That's why this year, 2010, is going to be a very, very important year, because this year, as God's voice begin to cry out, the people's hearts will be covered with anguish. They will be covered with a pang for prayer, and their voices will be heard. For the first time, they're going to articulate this voice of anguish in their heart. It was always groaning, but now they're going to speak it, they're going to declare it, and the heavens are going to respond. I can see the Spirit of God is going to respond so quickly and so powerfully. And because of that reason, things are just going to wide open. And the whole seasons of prayer is going to come. And for you who have heard the message, you are going to become forerunners of this message of the Lord. The Lord is saying that I will raise you up as you put this message into your heart, and I will give you the grace to clear the pathway. There will be mountains and hills, and there will be valleys that needs to be filled, but you become the forerunners of that message. And as you go out, they will say, they will come to hold your hand and say, where did you get this message? Because they want to find what you have done with it. So you are going to bring them to the model houses that you have built, the model churches that you have built, the model families that you have built, because this message is not going to be believed by the people unless you have modeled them. And God is saying to you, for this reason, all of a sudden they are going to say that you are not only the man who is speaking the message, but you're also the man who have lived the message, you have modeled the message. We now trust you, we believe in you, and we want to join you, and we want to hear the counsel from you. And therefore the Lord is saying to those of you who have built bases all across, and you've been building accurately on the ground, He is saying to you, the people are going to come not only just because of your message, but they're going to stay because of what you have done on the ground. And there's going to be growth and numerical growth. Momentum is going to gather in your churches. People are going to come from everywhere. Some of them will come and sit in your churches even though they are Muslim. They're going to sit in their churches because even though they are different tribes. And as they sit longer and longer in the presence of God, they surely know that God is with you. And you do not have to force them. You do not have to say, are you a Christian before you come to my church? No, you don't have to say. They will come. So many of them are just going to come and just sit around and just to see what you are doing. Some of them will not say, I want to be a Christian. No, they want to come where you are, because the presence of God is drawing them. Do not say in that hour, in that day, it's only for believers. No, they are going to come. This is a transitional time. They're going to come from everywhere. They're going to come in and they're going to sit in our services just listening to everything. Act like as though they are part of us, and walk like as though they're part of us, and join us. Why? Because they're truly in their heart, they are part of us. They will work out their own salvation, but they will come in and join us. But there will be many like that. They will begin to come into the house. Therefore, growth is going to come for those of you who heard the message and build the house and model the house. God is going to fill it. First, He's going to fill it with righteous people. He's going to fill it with your kind. He's going to fill it with those who have hold the message, who resonate to the message. God is going to bring them in, and they're going to resonate to that message, and that message is going to arrest them, and they are also going to become carriers of the message. They're going to come and see where you dwell and live where you live and walk where you walk. They're going to make a covenant with you even before they know your God. This company like Ruth will join you. This company like Ruth will surrender. This company like Ruth will make a covenant with you even before they know your God, because they have seen your God work for you. they have seen your God speak to you, they have seen your God manifest through your life, then they know that because they have connected with you, they can find the way back to the God that you serve. Therefore, the Lord is saying to you, do not reject them, do not push them away, do not say they are Muslims, do not say they are of another race, they are of another tribe, but they have come to join with you because they know what God is doing with you is what they are looking for. And they are going to come find you and connect with you. And the moment they connect with you, they're going to find your people. They're going to find your God. They're going to find your land. They're going to find your destiny and become partners together with you. The Lord will say that across this sheepfold, there are many who are going to become my sheep, but they are in another fold. And I'm going to bring them in and they're going to become part of what I am doing. And the Lord is saying that Save Nigeria is only God's strategy to bring about an infiltration and invasion into the regions round about, and they will penetrate all right into the underground. We're building under the thresholds of water. We're building under the pipelines. We're building under the bunkers, and we're building underground, and we're holding the things well, because when the days will come, when the Spirit of God will move powerfully, there will be so many, they will come from everywhere.